Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So, thank you so much for tuning in. Let's offer Mangalacharan so we can discuss seventh chapter from seventh canto today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्यिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदाम। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So Hare Krishna devotees. Today we will be discussing chapter 7 from 7th canto entitled What Prahalad Learned in the Womb. So there are 55 verses. So we'll only I will try and summarize the entire chapter, and we will only read the selected verses and maybe some purports. So in the previous chapter, entitled Prahlad Maharaj teachings to his demoniac schoolmates. So Prahlad kind of whenever he got a chance, when is during the break time, and during the play time, or whenever get a chance, he used to teach them about Krishna consciousness. And then he said that he had received this knowledge from from Narada Muni. He had received this knowledge from Saint Narada. Then the children, the demonic children, they replied. Sons of the demons replied. We all studied in the same school under the guidance of Shanda and Amarka. We never seen you going to Narada Muni, and there is no chance that Narada can come and see you at the palace as well. So how is it possible that you learned this science of Krishna consciousness from Narada Muni? So that was their question. So Prahlad Maharaj is explaining in this chapter about how we had received this knowledge from Narada Muni. So when he started explaining to his schoolmates that when his father Hiranyakashipu went to Mandarachala mountain to execute severe penance and severe austerities. So that time the demigods headed by King Indra came and attacked the demons, because the head is not there. the most powerful King Hiranyakashipu is away. So let us attack and cause disturbance. Um, so so the leaders, the great leaders of demons, were being killed one after another, and they began to flee, scattering themselves in all directions, mm, to protect their lives. Um, so the victorious demigods, they plundered the palace of Hiranyakashipu, and destroyed everything within it. They became victorious because Hiranyakashipu was not around. Mm. Then King Indra arrested um, my mother. Prahlad was telling my mother, hmm, the queen, Kayadu. So they arrested my mother. They plundered my father's palace. They've destroyed everything in it. And they arrested my mother, Kayadu. Hmm. Um, and she was, uh, when she was being taken away, she was crying, um, you know, and here, there is an example is given: a kurari captures a vulture. So that's how, in fear, she cried. At that time, Sage Narad appeared on the scene, um, and he said to King Indra, um, "Hmm, so come on, King Indra, this woman is certainly sinless. You should not drag her off in this merciless way. Um, this chaste woman is the wife of another. You must immediately release her. So should not drag her, and she's the wife of another man. You should not, drag her like this. You must immediately release her." Hmm? Um, then King Indra, he said that, um, we are taking her to, that time she was pregnant. Um, and because she's pregnant, King Indra said to Narada Muni, "Oh, there is a seed of Hiranyakashipu within the womb of this Kayadu. So there is another Hiranyakashipu in the womb. So we are not able to cope with one Hiranyakashipu who is away now on to perform austerities, but we have another Hiranyakashipu growing in the womb of this woman. We will keep her with us. As soon as the child is born, we will kill the child and we will leave her away without causing any harm. We will release her." And Narada Muni said, uh, hmm, so he said, the child within this womb is faultless and sinless. Indeed, he is a great devotee, a powerful servant of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, you will not be able to kill him. Hmm? Um, so let's read the shloka and purport. Hmm? Shri Narada Uvacha Ayam Nishkilbishaha Sakshan Mahabhagavato Mahan Tvayana Prapsyate Samstam Anantanucharo Bhali. Mahabhagavat is a great devotee. Hmm? Um, is a very great devotee. And you will not be able to kill him, put him to death. Why? He is Ananta Anuchara. He is a great servant of the Lord. and therefore is Bali extremely powerful. Mhm. I'll read the purport here. Um, there have been many instances in which demons and non-devotees have um, attempt to kill, sorry, demons or non-devotees, whatever, have attempt to kill a devotee, but they have never been able to destroy a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord promises in Bhagavad Gita 9:31, Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktya pranashyati. This is a declaration by the Supreme Personality of Godhead that is, devotee cannot be killed by demons. Prahlad Maharaj is a vivid example of the truth of this promise. Narada Muni told the king of heaven, it would be impossible for you to kill the child, even though you are demigods, and certainly it would be impossible for others. Mm. So, this is what Narad conveyed to King Indra uh, and other demigods. Mm. So when the great Saint Narada Muni had spoken in that way, um, King Indra immediately offered respects to Narada Muni um, and released Kayadhu. Hmm? Not only released Kayadhu, she was a pregnant lady, as we have mentioned earlier. She was carrying Prahlad in the womb. Because Narada Muni said that there is a great devotee within our womb, immediately the demigods circumambulated her and then returned to their heavenly kingdom. Hmm. So, yeah, in India we have this tradition. Whenever we visit a temple, we circumambulate. Hmm. Even we also circumambulate great devotees. Every day we offer Tulasi Puja in the morning, and during the Tulasi Puja, after the worship is finished, devotees they circumambulate Tulasi because she is a great devotee of the Lord. Because great devotee of the Lord is in the womb of Kayadu, the demigods circumambulated. And so Prabhupada writes some interesting points here. Um, Ideally, the son of a demon, the child of a demon should be a demon. But however, here Narada Muni said, no, he is a devotee, great devotee, although he's a son of um, demon, but he is a great devotee. They trusted the words of Narada Muni. Prabhupada writes in the purport, this is how the Vedic knowledge comes. You should trust the words of spiritual master, bona fide spiritual master. Hmm? Um, and they took it, they took the word, they trusted him like that. Hmm? So um, then Prahlad continued that he's narrating this to his schoolmates. So after that, my mother was released from the demigods. Then sage Narada took my mother to his ashram. Hmm? Um, so it is mentioned that Daksha cursed Narad not to have a ashram, a place for his, he'll not be able to live in one place. But I heard that these curses do not work in Vrindavan. So it is said that there is an ashram for Naradji in Vrindavan. So that's where um, he took. Kayadhu too. Hmm. So go back. So she happily stayed in the ashram of Narada Muni um, without fear, um, and also um, what she was doing, she was serving him. Hmm. Um, so, uh, yeah, my mother, being pregnant, desired the safety of her embryo and desired to give birth after my father's arrival. Thus, my mother stayed at Narada Muni's ashram, where she rendered service unto Narada Muni with great devotion. So Prabhupada writes quite a bit about this. Um, you know, um, so the question is that Narada Muni was a brahmachari, is a celibate, and so how come he can keep a young pregnant lady in his ashram? Hmm? So Prabhupada Bhagavatam tells this that one should not, you know, um, associate with even one's own mother, sister, like that. And there is one quotation I'll read, I think. One should not remain in a secluded place with a woman, even one's mother, sister, or daughter. Hmm? This is prohibited. Huh? Narada Muni gave shelter to Kayadu, um, but he is not an ordinary person. These rules are for mundane people and who are in the neophyte stage of devotion. Narada Muni was exalted. Hmm? Um, so he's at a very, very advanced devotee. Huh? Um, and he gives another example, Haridas Thakur. Hmm? When a prostitute visited Haridas Thakur, he kept on chanting day and night, and the prostitute was sitting next to him in front of Tulasi. While he was chanting, she heard Hare Krishna mantra, and uh, so that was like he stayed basically with the prostitute alone for three days, and in the nights also, day and nights. Hmm? And then he could transform that prostitute into a great Vaishnavi, a pure devotee. Hmm? Uh, Ordinary persons must strictly observe the rules and regulations, uh, and stay aloof and away from the association of women. Hmm? No one should imitate Narada Muni and Haridas Thakur. Hmm? Um, so that is the point Prabhupada mentioned. It's worth highlighting there. And so Narada Kayadu was rendering service with devotion, bhaktya, and pariyacharat. She was doing paricharya. Paricharya means rendering devotional service. Hmm? Um, so, and that time, Narada Muni delivered his instructions, the signs of devotion to me, who was uh, present in the womb, also to my mother. But however, my mother was in a great, anxious stage, in a stage of anxiety because my father was away. She was all alone here, and she was in a in a difficult stage. Her mental equilibrium was not so great. Hmm? As a result of that, she had forgotten the instructions given by Narada Muni. However, um, but the great sage Narada Muni blessed me, therefore I could not forget. Hmm? So the instructions, Prabhupada writes here, you know, there are no barriers to the spiritual knowledge. Just like Wi-Fi, um, it's you put the router in one place in the home, and the walls and other things, they don't have any barrier. It's not a barrier for the Wi-Fi. It just passes through. uh, Signals passes through like that. mm. So the spiritual knowledge is also like that. mm. Even the embryo within the womb can listen and advance in devotion. That's why many many women, when they are pregnant, they're advised to read and hear Bhagavatam. Ideally, hear Bhagavatam from from the lotus lips of pure devotees. Hmm? Um, so then Prahlad, after that, he started explaining some, spiritual knowledge to uh, his his friends, and so basically, he says like he gives a bit of knowledge that we receive in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Hmm? So, firstly, it distinguishes the soul from the body. Body undergoes six changes: birth, existence, growth, transformation, dwindling, and then death. Body changes, but whereas the soul does not undergo these changes. Hmm? Um, and he says that an expert geologist, he can find um, where the gold is, and then he extract the gold ore, mm, gold from the gold ore. So he is an expert geologist. They can find out using some techniques. They can locate the gold mines within the earth cavities. Mm. But if he's not expert, he's not able to locate these gold ores, right? Uh, so similarly, if one is expert in spiritual knowledge, um, one can realize that he's the servant of the Lord, he's eternal. uh, he is different to this material world. uh, but if he's not expert, a fool cannot I distinguish the difference between the body and soul. Hmm? Yeah, so then, and we will read this one. So he talks about this, and then he says, therefore, my friends, O sons of the demons, your duty is to take to Krishna consciousness, which can burn the seed of fruitive activities artificially created by the modes of material nature and stop the flow of intelligence in wakefulness, dreaming, and deep sleep. In other words, when one takes to Krishna consciousness, his ignorance is immediately dissipated. So, after giving this, further enlightening them, in science of spiritual science. Prahlad Maharaj tells them that you must take to Krishna consciousness. mm, um, so which will destroy all your karma. mm. It is said that from small insect to King Indra, everyone is being subjected to the karma. mm. But however, if one engages in devotional service unto the Lord, karmani nirdhati kintu cha bhakti bhajam, when one engages in devotional service unto the Lord, the karma will be destroyed. The putative reactions will be destroyed, and eventually the loving devotional service unto the Lord is established. So just give me 1 second. Right, so we'll move on to the next section, 29 till 38. So, yeah, so I'll now request someone to actually read these. We will read a few of these. So who would like to read? Please raise your hand, then I can ask you accordingly. Can't see anyone raising. Yes, Meena Mataji. So please read 31 and 30, 31 and 32.
Thank you, Babuji. One must accept the bona fide spiritual master and render service unto him with great devotion and faith. Whatever one has in one's possession should be offered to the spiritual master, and in the association of saintly persons and devotees, one should worship the Lord, hear the glories of the Lord with faith, glorify the transcendental qualities and activities of the Lord, always meditate on the Lord's lotus feet, and worship the deity of the Lord strictly according to the injunctions of the Shastra and Guru. Text 32. One should always remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his localized representation as the Paramatma, who is situated in the core of every living entity's heart. Thus, one should offer respect to every living entity according to that living entity's position or manifestation. Hare Krishna.
Yes, so we'll read 35 as well.
Thank you. When a devotee becomes like a person haunted by a ghost, he laughs and very loudly chants about the qualities of the Lord. Sometimes he has to perform meditation and he offers respects to every living entity, considering him a devotee of the Lord. Constantly breathing very heavily, he becomes careless of social etiquette and loudly chants like a madman, Hare Krishna, oh my Lord, O Master of the universe.
So
Krishna.
that's an advanced stage. Yeah, even Prahlad was like this. We read in one of the earlier chapter. He was in a advanced stage. So 37 and 38, please.
Ruchi, can I quickly ask a question before we move further?
Sure.
In the previous text, I think it was 32, it says that it's the Lord is localized as the Paramatma in everyone's heart. And yeah, and then it also says that thus one should offer respect to every living entity according to that living entity's position or manifestation. I don't understand that.
So
if it's the Paramatma in everyone's heart, then everyone should be respected equally, right?
It's not like that. We do not disrespect, knowing, but however, there are gradations. We studied this in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So there are gradations. even within the living entities. Yes, Paramatma is there. So we do not disrespect them. We do not cause any harm. We
mm,
can still offer respects in the mind, but pure devotees should be worshipped. You don't get a snake and you worship the snake, right?
mm, mm,
You understand that.
yeah,
So devotees are distinguished. You may respect other living entities, hmm,
yeah,
but the pure devotees are respected and they're worshipped like
they're
that
worship.
according to the position. Yeah.
Yeah,
And here, like Prahlad Maharaj says that one must accept a bona fide spiritual master. Hmm.
yeah,
And we should also uh, basically he says that whatever we have we should
mm,
offer to the spiritual master. That means follow his instructions
yeah,
and hear from him. And yeah, so ideally we should hear from the saintly devotees
mm.
about Lord glories and qualities. Yeah, so where were we?
Text
Five we read.
37.
This
Yeah,
is a higher stage, and uh, when one advances, when one gets to bhava stage. In the fifth canto also we studied Bharat Maharaj. He was before being attached to deer, he was at the stage of bhava. He used to get tears just by thinking about the Lord, like that. Hmm. So text 37 and 38.
thank you. The real problem of life is the repetition of birth and death, which is like a wheel rolling repeatedly up and down. This wheel, however, completely stops when one is in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, by the transcendental bliss realized from constant engagement in devotional service, one is completely liberated from material existence. All learned men know this. Therefore, my dear friends, O sons of the Asuras, immediately begin meditating upon and worshipping the Supersoul within everyone's heart.
So he's
Text.
trying his level best to,
Mm,
reach to his schoolmates. So this is how you stop. This wheel is very difficult to stop. This is also called bhava pravaha, the current of material existence. Um, so birth and death, it's a cycle. It will never stops. But here, this wheel, however, completely stops when one is in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mm. So that is the recipe given. And text 38, please.
excellent. O my friends, sons of the Asuras, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his Supersoul feature, always exists within the cores of the hearts of all living entities. Indeed, he is the well wisher and friend of all living entities, and there is no difficulty in worshipping the Lord. Why then should people not engage in his devotional service? Why are they so addicted to unnecessarily producing artificial paraphernalia for sense gratification?
Mm. So here um, is basically, yes. So he's saying, is there Lord Sarvasya Chaham Rudhi Sannivishto. Lord is there in everyone's heart and is equal to, is well-wisher of everyone. Suhridam Sarvabhutanam is well-wisher of all the living entities. So and he says that it's not difficult to worship the Lord. Lord will be pleased hmm, when you offer something with the devotion. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti uparutam ashnami prayatatmanaha. If one offers me flower, a leaf, water, or a fruit, hmm, singular, hmm, not plural. But bhakti is mentioned twice in this verse. Um, so, Lord, it's not difficult to worship Him this way. Hmm? So, we are also very fortunate. Some or other, we came in touch with Srila Prabhupada's movement. And by the mercy of the devotees and the Lord, now we are being educated in the matter of devotional science. And by the blessings of devotees, we are able to read and hear this Srimad Bhagavatam and offer some worship to the Lord and his pure devotees. So we will move on to the next section. I can see here Kiran Kohli Mataji. So please, we'll read some verses from this section. And in this section, Prahlad Maharaj talks about, talks on struggle for material things is unworthy. So please read 39.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
One's riches, beautiful wife and female friends, one's sons and daughters, one's residence, one's domestic animals like cows, elephants, and horses, one's treasury, economic development, and sense gratification. Indeed, even the lifetime in which one can enjoy all these material opulences are certainly temporary and flickering. Since the opportunity of human life is temporary, what benefit can these material opulences give to a sensible man who has understood himself to be eternal?
Hmm. So, yes. How should we treat devotees, our family members, and other things? The devotees, they see their family members to be the servants of the Lord, and we should educate them in devotional service to the Lord. Everybody has their free will, but at least we should try to educate them. Although they are temporary, we should use other things in the service of the Lord. Our house and our wealth, having a program, whatever little we have, we may give something in charity, like that. So we just say that this belongs to the Lord, and use it in the service of the Lord. The devotees would do this. Hmm. Yeah. So although these are temporary, but if we engage them, if we connect them to Krishna, we actually get benefit from that. Mhm. So text 42, please.
Okay. It is learned from Vedic literature that by performing great sacrifices, one may elevate himself to the heavenly planets. However, although life on the heavenly planets is hundreds and thousands of times more comfortable than life on Earth, the heavenly planets are not pure or free from the taint of material existence. The heavenly planets are also temporary, and therefore they are not the goal of life. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, has never been seen or heard to possess in verity. Consequently, for your own benefit and self realization, you must worship the Lord with great devotion as described in the revealed scriptures.
Yeah, in this verse, Prahlad Maharaj talks about sometimes people perform some Vedic rituals in order to go to higher planets for higher sense gratification. But Prahlad Maharaj advises them not to do that, because they are also temporary. uh, and the king of heaven is Indra, and we have seen many times, he is in trouble. So if the king of heaven is in trouble, what to speak of you just by going there? So instead, they're also temporary. So instead, he advises that they should worship the Lord. Hmm? Yeah, please carry on.
Okay. A materialistic person thinking himself very advanced in intelligence continually acts for economic development. But again and again, as enunciated in the Vedas, he is frustrated by material activities, either in this life or in the next. Indeed, the results one obtains are inevitably the opposite of those one desires.
Yeah, please move on.
Okay. In this material world, every materialist desires to achieve happiness and diminish his distress, and therefore he acts accordingly. Actually, however, one is happy as long as one does not endeavor for happiness. As soon as one begins his activities for happiness, his conditions of distress begin.
This is an important point here. Everyone tries to achieve happiness and and diminish distress. But actually, Prahlad Maharaj says here, however, one is happy as long as one does not endeavor for happiness. Uh, um, so that means one should depend on Krishna. It doesn't mean that mm, you do not endeavor, but depend on Krishna while endeavoring. But we should not simply endeavor only for sense gratification. That will cause pain. Hmm? Yeah, please move on, Mataji. Kiran Koli Mataji, please. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji. A living entity desires comfort for his body and makes many plans for this purpose. But actually, the body is the property of others. Indeed, the perishable body embraces the living entity and then leaves him aside.
Yeah. Please carry on.
Carry on?
Yeah.
Yeah. All this paraphernalia is very near and
44.
Sorry. Since the body itself is ultimately meant to become stool or earth, what is the meaning of the paraphernalia related to the body, such as wives, residences, wealth, children, relatives, servants, friends, kingdoms, treasuries, animals, and ministers? They are also temporary. What more can be said about this? Carry on.
Please.
All this paraphernalia is very near and dear as long as the body exists. But as soon as the body is destroyed, all things related to the body are also finished. Therefore, actually, one has nothing to do with them, but because of ignorance, one accepts them as valuable. Compared to the ocean of eternal happiness, they are more insignificant. What is the use of such insignificant relationships for the eternal living being?
Yeah, so we'll stop there. And Prahlad Maharaj talks about, the body being temporary, the things related in relation to the body also temporary, not advising not to be attached so much to the temporary things, but engage in devotion, knowing that even the body is temporary, but it can be used in the service of the Lord, and thereby one can achieve permanent benefit. Uh, Um, we will move on to the next and the last section from 48 till 55. Here, Prahlad Maharaj urges the schoolmates to take to the path of bhakti. Jisha Mataji,
Sorry.
are you in a position to read, Jisha Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, I will read.
48 onwards, please.
Text 48. The four principles of advancement in spiritual life, dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, all depend on the disposition of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, my dear friends, follow in the footsteps of devotees. Without desire, fully depend upon the disposition of the Supreme Lord, worship Him, the Supersoul, in devotional service. Text 49. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, is the soul and the supersoul of all living entities. Every living entity is a manifestation of his energy in terms of the living soul and the material body. Therefore, the Lord is the most dear and he is the supreme controller. Text 50. If a demigod, demon, human being, yaksha, gandharva, or anyone within this universe renders service to the lotus feet of Mukunda, who can deliver liberation, he is actually situated in the most auspicious condition of life, exactly like us, the Mahajanas, headed by Prahlad Maharaj. Text 51 to 52, 51 and 52. My dear friends, O sons of the demons, you cannot please the Supreme Personality of Godhead by becoming perfect Brahmanas, demigods, or great saints, or by becoming perfectly good in etiquette or vast learning. None of these qualifications can awaken the pleasure of the Lord, nor by charity, austerity, sacrifice, cleanliness, or vows can one satisfy the Lord. The Lord is pleased only if one has unflinching, unalloyed devotion to Him. Without sincere devotional service, everything is simply a show. Text 53. My dear friends, O sons of the demons, in the same favorable way one sees himself and takes care of himself, take to the devotional service to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is present everywhere as the super soul of all living entities. Text 54. O my friends, O sons of demons, everyone, including you, the Yakshas and Rakshasas, the unintelligent women, Shudras and covered men, the birds and the lower animals and the sinful living entities, can revive his original eternal spiritual life and exist forever simply by accepting the principles of Bhakti Yoga. Text 55. In this material world, to render service to the lotus feet of Govinda, the cause of all causes, and to see him everywhere is the only goal of life. This much alone is the ultimate goal of human life, as explained by all the revealed scriptures. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. So in the final section, Prahlad Maharaj, advised them take to the path of bhakti again, and he mentions that just although I was um, you know, I was in the womb of my mother, I heard it uh, from Narada Muni, and I became like this now. Similarly, if you hear from me with faith, you can also become like me. Hmm? He tells his schoolmates. And so, and Prahlad Maharaj says that in text 50, he tells Dev, Devosura, Devosura Manushova, Yaksho Gandharva Yevava, Bhajan Mukunda Charanam, Swastiman Syad Yathavayam. Whoever may be, whether one is a demigod, one is a demon, or a human being, or yaksha, different classes of beings are there, Gandharva, whoever they may be. Bhajan Mukundo, Bhajan Mukunda Charanam. If they worship the lotus feet of the Lord, uh, they will become like us, Mahajans. Swasti Man, all auspicious. Mm, um, they will get all auspiciousness. Um, and then he says that mm, um, how can you please the Lord? It's not by becoming a perfect Brahmana, a great demigod, a great saint. or perfectly good in etiquette and vast learning. None of these qualifications will actually please the Lord, he says, not by giving charity, austerity, sacrifice, but the Lord is only pleased when one has unflinching, unalloyed devotion to him. So without sincere devotional service, everything is simply a show. Everything is simply show. Hmm. So we are in the neophyte stage. We are advised to follow the instructions of the spiritual master and render devotion service accordingly. And sincere, not being duplicitous. Hmm. And Lord knows our shortcomings, but if you are sincere, Lord likes it. So here, without sincere devotional service, everything is simply a show. Hmm? Um, has been mentioned here by Prahlad Maharaj. Hmm? Um, yeah. So, and again, he repeats similar verse that, everyone, including you, uh, everyone can attain their then they can revive their spiritual position, hmm, um, by accepting the principles of bhakti yoga. Hmm. Um, so initially, like when Prabhupada was trying to give this knowledge to the people outside India, so many smarta, ritualistic brahmanas, they said, how can you offer this knowledge to others? But here Prahlad Maharaj says this, anybody can be purified by accepting this. And Prabhupada did. Prabhupada gave this to all of us. Um, and many we can see in the moment, though they were not born in India and in so-called Brahmana family, or in a higher family, birth in a higher family, yet they became so advanced because they received the instructions of spiritual master Prabhupada, and they followed and they practiced, mm, it. Mm. So, and the final verse is a gem. Like, ultimately, what is the ultimate goal of human life? Uh, Prahlad Maharaj concludes this chapter. Mm. Etavaneva lokesmin, in this material world, pumsa pumsa swarta parasmrutaha ekanta bhaktiru govinde yat sarvatra tadikshanam. The ultimate goal of every living entity in this world is to attain ekanta bhaktir govinde. Ekanta bhakti means unalloyed devotional service onto Govinda. And one should see Govinda, the Supreme Lord, everywhere, in every form. Hmm? So that is the ultimate goal of this human form of life. Hmm? Um, so yeah, so that's how this chapter ends. I'll try and summarize this chapter. So, being cautioned by the sons of demons in the previous chapter, his schoolmates, that how he had learnt it from Narada Muni, Prahlad Maharaj explained that when his father had gone to Mandarachala in the valley, had gone to perform austerities in the valley of Mandara mountain. That times demigods came to um, you know came to them and declared a war, and he defeated the demons, the leaders of demons and other demons. Actually, they ran hither and thither to protect their lives. And then they became victorious and entered the palace of Hiranyakashipu, and they destroyed everything within the palace, and they captured his mother Kayadu. That time she was pregnant and carrying Prahlad Maharaj, and they were dragging her and trying to take her to heavenly planet and keep her in their custody, and kill the child once the child is born, because they were thinking, we are not able to cope up with one Hiranyakashipu. What if another, if this child becomes another Hiranyakashipu? So they thought they can, they can kill this child and leave the mother once she gives birth. But that time, Narada Muni appeared on the scene and informed the demigods that why you are carrying, she's the wife of another man, and not only that, she's carrying a great devotee. In her womb there is a great devotee. uh, you will not be able to kill him at all. Hmm? So after hearing Narada Muni, they circumambulated Kayadu, because a great devotee of the Lord is present in her womb, and they went to their planets. That time, Narada Muni took Kayadu, pregnant Kayadu, to his ashram, and he instructed um, devotional signs to her and also the child within the womb. She stayed with him and she served in the ashram. Mm. So Prahlad Maharaj says, because my mother was in great anxiety, because as my father had gone away, and as a result of that, she had forgotten these instructions. However, Narada Muni blessed me, special blessings he offered me. As a result of that, I could remember all these instructions. Mm. Then Narada Muni, Prahlad Maharaj talks about body and soul, how the body undergoes 6 changes. The soul doesn't undergo these changes, telling them that they are not these material bodies. Gives them this spiritual knowledge. Mm. And then he talks about the instructions of bhakti. Mm. It gives them that one should perform bhakti, but he also talks about the struggle in this material world. He talks about how body is temporary, the things in relation to body are also temporary, and several times he advised them to accept you know the principles of devotion. Then at the end he talks that even though you are sons of demon, even though you are little children, uh, you know you can become like me. You can become a great, you all can become great devotees. Hmm? Just as I heard these signs from the lotus mouth of Narada Muni before I was even born, similarly, you are now in a better position. You are all children, mm, and you can hear me, have faith in my words, and practice this devotional service. which will cut off all your karmic reactions, putative reactions. And then he says, whoever he may be, one may be demigod, demon, human being, any being, if they worships the lotus feet of Mukunda, one can become one can become a pure devotee. And then he talks about the ultimate goal of human life is to um, ultimate goal of human life is to render service onto the lotus feet of Govinda and see him everywhere. huh? This is the ultimate goal of human life, as revealed, as explained by the revealed scripture. So that's how this chapter ends. We will stop here, and Krishna willing, we will continue discussing seventh canto. We will hopefully discuss the eighth chapter next week. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare
Thank
Krishna,
you,
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare
Hari
Krishna.
Hari. Any questions? And did anybody say any questions? No. Okay. Hare Krishna.